こんにちは、皆さん。今日、私たちは日本語を勉強しています。質問があれば、私に聞いてください。Greetings, everyone. Today we're studying Japanese. If you have any questions, then feel free to ask me at any time. We're going to continue with immersion with Card Captor Sakura.
もうちゃんと棺が収められているピラミッドもたくさんあるんですよ。
何のために作ったんだろ
あ、何の、何のために作ったんだろ
ちゃんと棺が収められているピラミッドもたくさんあるんですよ。
う。何のために作ったんだろ
So, non or basically what, no tame, this is for the purpose of noun, so you're basically saying what purpose, and then ni is your targets, you're targeting towards what purpose. Then skuta, this is from skudu, which is to make. However, notice it's using this kanji. That tells you it's being used for large scale projects, as we learned in the last stream. And then daro is that volutional tense. Here it's being used to say I wonder. So I wonder what purpose they were made. In this case, the pyramids. 何のために作ったんだろう。
好きなんですね。
う。はい。
興味があるんなら今度うちへ遊びにいらっしゃい。ちゃんと棺が収められているピラミッドもたくさんあるんですよ。
何のために作ったんだろ
君はこういう話が好きなんですね。
So koiyu is modifying hanashi. So that's hanashi's conversation. So likable conversation. So as for you, it's a likable conversation. I think koiyu is supposed to be like saying that kind of thing. So saying that kind of thing conversation. So I think he's trying to say, do you like talking about that kind of thing? Let's see how close I came to that understanding. Such, this sort of, like this. Let's see. Explain the grammar of let's see, whenever someone gives, from now on, whenever someone gives you a sentence and it starts with, whenever anyone gives you a sentence and it starts with, let's say a sentence to analyze, and it starts with a word in, assume that it's the name of the person who is speaking. Let's see, Koyu. The phrase Koyu is a compound of Ko series demonstrative this way and EU to say to call. It translates to this kind or such. It modifies the noun hanashi, story, talk. It refers to a specific type of story that is psychologically close to the speaker. What has just been mentioned, observed in the conversation. In contrast, sonohashi, the story, specific story, okay, that specific story by emphasizing the category of nature of a story rather than just the specific instance. What are you literally saying with koyu hanashi? Wrong hanashi. Koyu hanashi. There you go. This way, thus called. So, hanashi. When you combine koi functions as this kind, okay. Therefore, a literal translation would be a story talked about in this way, or a story of this sort. This way said story, okay. Or this kind of way said story. So, 君はこういう話が好きなんですね. Or, you like talking about this sort of thing?
何のために作ったんだろ
君はこういう話が好きなんですね。
う。はい。
興味があるんなら今度。
何のために作ったんだろ
君はこういう話が好きなんですね。
う。はい。
興味があるんなら。
興味があるなら、Kyomi, interest, made from entertain, revive, retrieve, interest, pleasure, and flavor, taste. So a flavor of entertainment, aka an interest. Kyomi. Kyomi ga aru nara. So if you have that interest, Kyomi ga aru nara.
何のために作ったんだろ
君はこういう話が好きなんですね。
う。はい。
興味があるんなら今度うちへ遊びにいらっしゃい。なら今度うちへ遊び。
今度、今度、うちへ遊びにいらっしゃい。Let's see, Kondo, isn't that this time? So this time, so you're welcome to come play at our house this time. Wouldn't next time make more sense? Kondo, oh, it can be this time or next time, or another time, shortly or soon. It would be next time if I wanted to just say next time. Let's see, next time, occasion. I think the difference is kondo implies one time, and then jikai implies it's periodic. see. Difference between kondo and jikai when it means next time. When both terms mean next time, kondo refers to the next opportunity or general near future, often with a vague or indefinite time frame, while jikai refers to a specific next occurrence in a sequence or series. It is used, because kondo is used for social invitations, one-off future plans, or general sometime soon contexts, where the exact timing is unknown or irrelevant. Let's hang out, kondo. Okay, so it can mean this time if we're referring to a recently completed event. Jikai is used when referring to an immediate next item in a recurring list, schedule, or series, such as the next episode of a TV show, the next scheduled meeting, or the next installment in a publication. It implies a structured continuity in a known order of events. So when you don't exactly know the time, you'd use more kondo. But when it's like a well-arranged periodic time, you use jikai. But kondo can be this time or next time. And you pretty much have to tell from context. Kondo uchi e asobi ni irashai. Now notice he used e because while he was referring to his house with Uchi, he's he's not specifying exactly where. For example, I mean, they could play in the front yard of the house, hence it's in the direction of the house but not actually at the house. He's just referring to the general direction of over towards the house. They could play in a park near the house. Though in this case, when he's talking about pyramids, I would think he's talking about inside the house, because that's where he keeps all his archaeology related stuff. Actually, that actually is a good question. Why is Uchi... So let's reference the sentence itself. In this, why is it Uchi e, since they appear to be inviting someone to come into their house to look at something. Indicates direction or destination, meaning towards. In the phrase blah, come visit us by my house. Sometimes uchi, location's the house. E marks the movement is directed towards that location. Asobi ni, okay, indicates purpose, yeah. Ida shau is a casual imperative honorific verb. Ida shauru meaning come. The phrase does not mean look at the house. It means come to my house to visit. The verb irashai specifically invites the guest to come into the space, while e establishes the space as the destination of travel. A future. Why isn't ni used since they are coming into the house? ni can be used in this sentence, and it would be grammatically correct. The choice between e and ni here is about nuance, not strict rule of entering. Here's why e is often preferred in invitations, even when entering is implied. E emphasizes the direction or the act of heading towards the home. It sounds more like an invitation to start the journey to your place. Ni emphasizes the arrival point or the specific location where the action happens. In invitations like "Welcome to my home," "Yokoso," "Ware ga ie e," is traditionally preferred because it welcomes the guest into the direction of your sphere, feeling slightly more poetic or welcoming, avoiding confusion with purpose. Okay, the sentence already used ni and asobi ni to indicate purpose of the visit. In order to player visit, while Japanese allows multiple ni particles in one sentence, uchi ni asobi ni kiru, using e for the destination and ni for the purpose, creates a clear distinction between where they are going and why they are going. The verb irashai, it's imperative of irasharu, to come, to go, to be. When used as a standalone invitation, come, it pairs very naturally with e to indicate come in the direction of me and my home. So summary, you're not wrong to think ni for entering. See, if you said uchi ni asobi ni irashai, it would mean come to my house, arrival point, to visit. However, uchi e is chosen to emphasize the invitation to come over, direction, and to stylistically separate the destination from the purpose. Uchi e is chosen to emphasize the invitation to come over. How does e... Notice I'm pronouncing it as e, not he, because when it's used as a particle, it's pronounced as e. How does e emphasize the invitation to come over? The particle e emphasizes the invitation by shifting the focus from the arrival point to the act of coming towards the host. Here it is how e specifically enhances the nuance of an invitation. While ni marks a specific target or arrival point, like pinning a location on a map, e marks a direction of travel. Ni implies your goal is to arrive at my house, static endpoint. E implies head in the direction of my house, dynamic movement. In an invitation, using e feels more like extending a hand and saying, come this way, rather than stating a coordinate. It emphasizes the movement towards the host, which feels more welcoming and inclusive of the guest's journey. Traditional and poetic nuance. E is traditionally preferred in a set phrase, such as yo koso something e. Because it is often used in formal welcomes, welcome to Japan is typically Nihon e yo koso. It carries a slightly more poetic, formal, or gracious tone than the blunt factualness of ni. Using e and uchi e asobi ni irashai echoes the traditional hospitality, making the invitation sound warmer and more established. Softening the specificity. Ni can feel very precise and rigid, exactly at this spot. E is slightly vaguer, implying towards my sphere in my direction. This vagueness softens with command. Instead of demanding the guest hit a specific target, and invites them into the host's general space or orbit. This aligns perfectly with the Japanese culture value of making guests feel comfortable rather than constrained by strict boundaries. So summary, e emphasizes the invitation because it welcomes the guest's movement towards the host. carrying a traditional, poetic, and soft nuance than the purely locational ni. So, e would be used even for if it was said the explicit purpose for coming over is to see something stored in the house. Yes, A would be still be natural and commonly used, even if the explicit purpose is to see something inside the house. The choice of particles depends on what you are emphasizing, the journey, direction, or the arrival target. Even if the goal is to see something, the sentence uchi e mi ni kite kudasai, please come to my house to see it, focuses on inviting the person to come over. It highlights the movement towards your home. It frames the interaction as a please head this way to my place, which maintains the welcoming, hospitable nuance discussed earlier. The specific purpose to see is already clearly marked with the second ni in mini. So using e for destination avoids stacking two ni particles, though uchi ni is grammatically correct. And uchi e mi ni kite kudasai, please come in this direction, my house, to see it. How the act of coming over, visiting, okay. This is often preferred for invitations because it sounds softer and more focused on the guest's journey to you. Okay. So in other words, it sounds more inviting, essentially, even if it's not 100% accurate. And it puts focus on the journey, even if the journey is going to end in a specific spot anyway. Kondo uchi e osobi ni irashai. Or uh, uh, come over to this house. Come over to my house next time to play.
そういう話が好きなんですね。
はい。
興味があるんなら今度うちへ遊びにいらっしゃい。もっと面白い出土品もありますよ。
Moto.
はい。
興味があるんなら今度うちへ遊びにいらっしゃい。もっと面白い出土品も。
Oh, omoshiroi. Moto omoshiroi.
はい。
興味があるんなら今度うちへ遊びにいらっしゃい。もっと面白い出土品もありますよ。
はい。
興味があるんなら今度うちへ遊びにいらっしゃい。もっと面白い出土品も。
Moto omoshiroi. Let's see. Shutsu do hin. Shutsu do hin. Artifact. Excavated article. Archaeological find. So, shutsu. That is a large su, right? Shutsu do hin. So eggs that are coming out, soil, earth, and then good. So a good that comes out of the earth is an artifact. So more fun artifact artifacts. So I have additional, because it's mo here, additional more fun artifacts. In other words, I have additional fun artifacts that are even more fun. There are even more interesting artifacts too. I assume Moto applies to Moshiroi. Let's see. In this instance, does Moto apply to Omoshiroi? Yes, and the Moto modifies Omoshiroi, okay. Moto Omoshiroi, Shutsu Dohin. So listen for Shutsu Dohin.
はい。
興味があるんなら今度うちへ遊びにいらっしゃい。もっと面白い出土品もありますよ。
父さん。
木之本。はい。
興味があるんなら今度うちへ遊びにいらっしゃい。もっと面白い。
Moto Omoshiroi. Shutsu Dohin. Okay, Moto Omoshiroi Shitsu Dohin mo arimasu yo.
はい。
興味があるんなら今度うちへ遊びにいらっしゃい。もっと面白い出土品もありますよ。
いいんですか？
もちろん。
いいんですか? Is it good? Mochiron, of course.
いいんですか？
もちろん。
Mochiron. Let's see, that comes from the kanji of not, must not, and then discourse. So there's not discourse. In other words, of course, obviously you're going to do it. There's no discourse, so of course. Mochiron.
今度うちへ遊びにいらっしゃい。もっと面白い出土品もありますよ。
いいんですか？
もちろん。
素敵だね、木之本さんのお父さん。
素敵だね。Kinomoto-san no Oto-san. That's that another example of saying sentences in reverse, which is so instead of saying Kinomoto's father is amazing or wonderful, he's saying he's wonderful, and then Kinomoto's father. 素敵だね。Kinomoto-sanのお父さん。
素敵だね、木之本さんのお父さん。
木之本。木之本？
うん。りくん、名字で気づかなかった？さくらちゃんのお父さんだよ。
木之本。木之本？
うん。りくん。
Lee-kun. Let's see.
名字で気づかなかった？
Myosde. Oh, yeah, I think that's the formal word for a name. Myosde. Kizu Kanakata. Sakura-chan no otosan yo. Myoji, surname, family name, Myojin de Kizu Kanakata, Kizuku, to notice, to realize, to become aware of, to perceive. So that's spirit, mind, and then, oh, this is from Suku, to attach, but this is its own word though, so, but I think it's probably derived from it, so, mind, attach, in other words, to notice, Kizuku, and it's pronounced as Zu because of the 10-10 rule when attaching things. So, Kizuka nakata, so you didn't notice. So why is de here? Okay. So I'm guessing Lee-kun, and then would be ga or wa, and then myoji de. Let's see. Why is de used in it translates to by or through, meaning the speaker is saying they did not realize a person's identity by their last name. This implies that the last name. Okay, no, it's a misunderstanding it. The usage for this usage is distinct from the particle ni, which indicates target. Okay, so in other words, last name is the method. That's why they're using de. So using the method of last name, you did not recognize. So Lee-kun, using the method of last name you didn't recognize. In other words, you didn't recognize him by his last name, Lee. Yeah, and then Sakura no Otosan da. This is Sakura's father. So Lee-kun, Myoji, and they're using Myo. Oh yeah, that's right, Myoji. That's right. It's in particular, it's family name. It's Namae is more like just asking about someone's name in general, but I don't think it implies any particular name. Let's see. Namae. Oh, okay, so Namae, let's see, the first definition says name. Second definition says given name or first name. So was Namae first name while Myoji's last name? Let's see. Does Namae always refer to the first name? It is a general term that can mean full name, given name, or family name depending on context. In everyday conversation, Namae is most commonly used to ask or refer to a person's full name or given name. However, it is specific meaning shifts based on usage. In this, it is the standard word for name. Okay. In specific context, it can refer to the given name. While less common as a standalone label for the surname, it can refer to the family name, and the context implies the full name is already known. Okay. But Myoji in particular means family name. And that's made from the kanji that has the meaning of name, and the kanji that has the meaning of character, letter, or word. Let's see. Aza? Section of a village. Azana, Chinese courtesy name. Name formerly given to adult Chinese men used in place of their given name in formal situations. Never heard of courtesy names before. What is Chinese courtesy name? Is known as a star name, in addition to name bestowed upon individuals upon reaching adulthood, primarily serving as a formal, respectful alternative to their given name. The tradition is rooted in Confucian etiquette and detailed in the Book of Rites, was historically given to men at the age of 20 during the ceremony, and sometimes at women at the age of 15 upon marriage. Oh, at the age of 15 or upon marriage. Okay. Uh, that's right. I know in Japan, 20 is when you're legally classified as a logical adult, and I say logical adult because there's a social adult age and a logical adult age, and they are not the same age in Japan. In the US, both of those ages are 18. In Japan, the logical adult age is 20, and the emotional adult age is 16. Hence why you get the right to vote at 20, but the right to marry at 16. Konnichiwa, Merlin, Maggie, Genki desu ka? Uh, let's see. Actually, let's see what the drinking age is tied to. Let's see, what is the drinking age in Japan? Yes, it's tied to logical adult age, or the age of 20. Oh, in 2022, they lowered their drinking age to 18 from 20. So it used to be 20. They just recently lowered it to 18. Oh, no, never mind. That's the other way around. So they lowered their voting age to 18, but the drinking age is still 20. So you can vote at 18 now, but as of 2022, but you can't drink until you're 20 years old. That said, there actually are alcoholic drinks in Japan that people not of drinking age are allowed to drink. And the reason for that is because they have an incredibly low alcohol content in them. You'd have to drink quite a lot to actually affect you. And even then, I'm not sure if you can drink enough to affect you. Let's see. Is set as Magi. Okay, Magi, okay. Oh, like the like one of the three wise men, Magi. Okay. Either the three wise men, Magi, or unless you named it after the computers on Neon Genesis Evangelion, which were also named after the three wise men. Yeah. Yeah, I heard a lot of the brain's abilities aren't fully in until the age of 25, developed until to the age of 25, yes. Though interesting, it says that, okay, wait, it says the marriage age is 18, but I thought there was 16 was allowed. Let's see. What age can you marry in Japan? Does it differ by region? Yeah, because what I thought the way it works is you can marry at 16, but it requires someone at least uh 18 to marry someone that is 16. Let's see. Prior to April 1st, 2022, the minimum age for was 18 for men and 16 for women. The revision to the Civil Code unified the age at 18 to align with the new age of majority. So this is the law that passed April 1st, 2022. While 18 years old can't legally while 18-year-olds can legally marry, those under 20 may still face specific administrative requirements and need parental consent depending on the individual's circumstances and local municipal interpretations. Though the law now recognizes 18 as the age of adulthood for contracting marriage. Okay, so the age was bumped up to 18 for marriage, but you still need essentially parental consent if you're under 20. Let's see, wait. Parental consent. Okay, so before the April 1st law, the previous rule required parental consent for those 18 and 19 to marry. Let's see. Okay, so See, under the old law was parental consent needed if one was 20 and the other was 16. What if the Okay, so under the old law, a man could marry at 18, but required parental consent up to the age of 20. And under the old law, a woman could marry at 16, but required parental consent up to the age of 20. Under the new law, it's marriage is at 18 with no parental consent whatsoever. Let's see. Did you hear about the issue with men now punching women in Japan? Uh, yeah, I've heard about a huge crime rate increase after the immigration. Uh, yes, it was 16 because before that 2022 law, it actually was 16. Okay, well, continuing this. Interesting. I was not aware of the law change, so, okay. So, Lee-kun, Myoji. Oh, yeah, I was looking up Chinese courtesy names, that's right. Okay, the purpose of the Z, okay, was to maintain social harmony and respect. Using someone's given name in adulthood was considered rude and disrespectful among peers, so the courtesy name was used in formal communications and writing. These names consistently consist of two characters and often reflected the meaning of the given name through synonyms, antonyms, or classical allusions intended to express the bearer's moral integrity. While common in Eastern cultures like China, Japan, Korea, or Vietnam, the practice largely declined in modern society after the May 4th movement in 1919. See, the given name was reserved for elders and individuals themselves, while peers used the courtesy name to show deference. Early courtesy names were monosyllabic, but disyllabic forms became standard after the Qin dynasty. Prefixes like Bo, eldest, and Zong, second, and Shu, third, and Ji, youngest, often indicated birth order. Did Japan use courtesy names? See, yes, Japan historically uses names known as asana, a practice directly adapted from the Chinese Z tradition, okay? The asana was formerly bestowed upon males during Ginpuku coming of age ceremony, typically between the ages of 11 and 17, though often around 20 for nobility. Its primary function mirrored the Chinese custom to provide a respectful alternative to Imina, or personal given name, which was considered taboo for peers to use directly, while Imina was reserved for individuals, close kin, or superiors. Azana was used in formal situations and official interactions among equals. Heian period, okay, 1794 to 1185. Initially restricted the imperial court nobility and aristocracy, reflecting Confucian ideals and propriety. Kamakura period, 1185 to 1333 onwards. The practice spread to the samurai class. Warriors often integrated asana with nanori, public name readings, to convey status without revealing the taboo imina. Edo period. This was around roughly the 1600s. While still in use, the complexity of a samurai's naming convention sometimes shifted focus towards lineage names and public titles, though the distinction between Imina and Azana remained culturally significant. Decline. The usage of Azana largely declined. Oh, sorry, that's right. I'm thinking the Meiji period was the. Wait. The Meiji. Was the Edo period 1600? Okay, it says Meiji period, late 1900s. Was the Edo period in 1600s? Began in the early 1600s and extended well into the 1900s. Okay. So the usage of the Azana largely declined during the Meiji Restoration, late 19th century. As Japan modernized into a legal and social system, the push towards simplified, standardized naming conventions for the general population, combined with the reduced influence of classical Chinese literacy, culture, and daily life, caused the practice to fade. By the 20th century, it had become obsolete in modern Japanese society, surviving primarily in historical texts and among scholars of classical literature. Let's see, is that why calling someone by their family name got started? They stopped receiving alternative names. No, okay. The practice of calling someone by their family name, surname in Japan, did not start because people stopped receiving courtesy names as Zana. Instead, it was primarily driven by legal mandates during the Meiji Restoration that required all citizens to adopt and register a family name for the first time. The rise of family names. Prior to the Meiji era, before 1868, the use of family names, myoji or uji, was a privilege restricted to samurai, nobility, and some wealthy merchants. Commoners, peasants, artisans typically did not have a formal hereditary surnames. They were often identified by their given name, their profession, and their place of origin. Legal requirement. In 1870, the government allowed commoners to adopt surnames, and in 1875, Myoji Hisorei Ordinance of Compulsory Use of Family Names made it mandatory for every household to register a family name. Practicality. The shift was part of a broader modernization effort to create a national census, enforce taxation, and conscript soldiers. Families often chose names based on geographical features, e.g., Tanaka, rice field, middle. Yamamoto, base of the mountain. or historical clans. The decline of the Azana was a separate culture shift as Japan modernized and adopted Western customs, and the complex systems of multiple names, including Imina, Azuna, Susho, and Go, were seen as impractical simplification. The new family name registration, Koseki, standardized names to just family names plus given name. Social etiquette. The custom of addressing others by family name, often with an honorific like son, became a standard polite form. This was not a replacement for the Azana specifically, but rather a new social norm where family name itself took on the role of the formal identifier. Using the given name remained reserved for close friends and families and subordinates, preserving the traditional distinction between public and private identity without needing a separate courtesy name. Did the rise of use of family names coincide with the decline of specially given names? Let's see. Oh, a train. Let's see. If a woman bumps into a man, she could sue him for groping. So now men will punch her, as it is a lesser crime to punch a woman, and they have women-only trains, but women tend to hate. That's interesting. Punching is considered a lesser crime. Let's see. Yes, the rise of family names and the decline of specially given names like Azana or courtesy names coincided during the Meiji Restoration, 1868 to 1912, but they were driven by different, albeit related, forces of modernization. Before 1875, family names, Myoji, were largely restricted. Okay. Simultaneously, the complex tradition of naming system, which included the taboo personal name Yamina and the courtesy name Azana, and the various synonyms Go, were deemed impractical for modern industrial state as the government standardized registration to just family names and given names, and the Koseki, or family registry. The Azana lost its legal and administrative function. Interesting. I was not aware that most people did not have last names uh in Japan until that late. I know in like European countries they started out last names a lot sooner than that, but they were mostly profession related names, but they at least had them as last names. So anyway, Lee Kun uh you Myoji, okay. Kizu, Kizuku, so yeah, Kizuku, so Kizuka Nakata. So Lee-kun, Myoji de Kizuka Nakata, Sakura no Otosan da yo.
木の本。
うん。りーくん名字で気づかなかった？さくらちゃんのお父さんだよ。
なんなのよ。
Not, Nanai no yo. What is it? And the reason she's using non there is because if you're going to make it more informal, informational with attaching no, you can't have no directly after the non. So the dot particle gets moved. The dot essentially gets moved in its connecting form of na, and gets placed in front of the no. And that's how this is essentially nanda, but with no added to it. And this is the only time you see like the normalizing no and the other ending, yeah, the normalizing no after the dot particle, because usually it's before the dot particle. But that's what nan no yo comes from, or what is it?
なんなのよ。
ちょっと難しかったかな、今日の話。ちょっと難しかったかな、今日の話。ちょっと難しかった。
Choto musukashikata. Choto musukashikata na. Kyou no hanashi. So, musakashi is difficult. So musukashikata was difficult. So in other words, was it a little bit difficult? Today's discussion or today's presentation. Hanashi can be any kind of conversation essentially. So whatever word fits best in English. So choto musukashikatta kana kyou no hanashi.
ちょっと難しかったかな、今日の話。
すっごくわかりやすくて面白かった。
ちょっと難しかったかな、今日の話。
Sugoku, wakari yasukute omoshikatta. Omoshiro kata. Yasashi. Yasui. I think this might be an attachment on the end of wakari. Yeah, Yasui. Easy, so it's this one. But is this a suffix, or is it just this in a noun form before going before that? Let's see, in this is the yasuku, a suffix. Attached to wakari. Yes, in the phrase wakari yasuku, yasuku is an adverbial form of the adjective yasui, which functions as a suffix attached to the stem wakari to understand. Easy, okay, so easy to understand, okay. So last names were once only given to nobility in both sides of the worlds. Yeah, but I was saying is that the I think the profession names started in Europe a lot sooner than the late 1800s. Let's see. What year did the profession let's see, family names start with commoners in Europe? Okay. In Western Europe, it started in the 11th century following the Norman conquest in 1066, which introduced fixed surnames to England. While initially restricted to nobility, the practice became widespread among lower class by the end of the 13th century, regions like France, and by the 16th century in much of Western Europe. Population grew and administered records became necessary. Okay, so yeah, so it was pretty widespread by the 16th century, while in Japan it didn't start until the late 18th century. With it becoming widespread, probably a few years later since there was a huge push for it. Let's see. The reason women tend to hate taking the women-only trains is that other women tend to insult women with looks. Strange ways of Japan. See, let's see. Merlin, Magi wa, at the start of the last name Smith was only given to those whom the king received as nobility for their skill at Toimashita. So, Sugoku, Wakari, Yasukute. Okay, so this is in its connected form. Yasukute. Easy. Omoshiro kata. Okay, so this is basically two clauses. So, well, three parts really. No. Sugoku wakari yasukute. It was extremely easy to understand. Omoshiro kata. It was interesting. So no, it was extremely easy to understand. It was interesting. Sugoku wakari yasukute. Omoshiro kata. And the reason they're using kute here is because they want to use this form chain the terraformer is a way to connect one clause to the next clause.
難しかったかな、今日の話。
すっごくわかりやすくて面白かった。
Oh, by the way, I wanted to mention the difference between wakaru and shiru. They both, one gets translated as like to understand and others to know. So I've been like looking at examples of trying to differentiate their usage, and I came across one description that is rather interesting. If you can know something but not understand it, and once you finally understand it, you wakaru it, because wakaru has to do with parsing the information to the point where you can understand what it means, while shiru is more about actually knowing the information. Because so when you learn something and then you understand it, you wakaru it. When you actually know something already and it's like basically saved in the memory banks kind of thing, that's more of a shiru type of word. And that's one description I've heard of how to understand the difference in the usage between wakaru and shiru. So, sugoku wakari yasukute omoshirokata. Let's see. There it is. And that is made from the kanjis of surface, mass, face, and white.
よかった。あ、今日のおかず何がいい？よかった。あ、今日のおかず何がいい？
今日のおかず、何がいい? So, today's kazu, isn't that injury? Or am I thinking something else? Kazu, small dish, fill in, I mean, okay. Oh, side dish, in other words, small meal. So it has to do with a small meal. So wait. Kyo no okazu, so a small meal today. Okay, so I see this is being used. Essentially, the wa is being dropped here, and it's sort of using the pauses to represent the wa or the ga. So as for the small meal today, what is good? In other words, what do you want to eat for the? Because of the customary of basically having your main meals and breakfast and dinner, and if you have anything at all, which is just some small snack for lunch. What's injury though? Injury. Oh, that's kega, not kazu. It's kega. So, kyo no kazu, nani ga ii?
当番、お兄ちゃんじゃなかったっけ？
よかった。あ、今日のおかず何がいい？
今日の当番、お兄ちゃんじゃなかったっけ？
Kyo no 今日のお弁当、お兄ちゃん、じゃなかった。じゃなか、じゃなかったっけじゃなかったっけ ?OK。今日のお弁当、お兄ちゃんじゃなか、か、かったっけかったっけ今日のお弁当、お兄ちゃんじゃなかったっけ ?So, so, ja or dewa generally has to do with the identification. So, and then kata is past tense. So today's bento, was that not brother? Or I thought that was brother. Was it not? In other words, it's basically saying I thought I thought older brother made the bentos today. Now let's listen to how she pronounces that.
今日のおと
あ、今日のおかず何がいい？
今日のお当番、お兄ちゃんじゃなかったっけ？
東也くん明日試験なんだって。それで代わりに。
お兄ちゃんじゃなかったっけ？
東也くん明日試験なんだって。それで代わりに。
Toya-kun, ashita.
東也くん明日試験なんだって。
今日のお当番、お兄ちゃんじゃなかったっけ？
東也くん明日試験なんだって。
Something can nadate. それで
代わりに。
代わりに So from that, it changed. Okay, so for some reason there had to be a change. She can examination, exam, test. So as for tomorrow, okay, okay, this is probably the casual topic. Wait, no, let's see. As for tomorrow, there's a test. From that, there was a change. So, Toya-kun 明日試験なんだって。それで代わりに So in other words, you moved toward change, or in other words, you made a change. Which sute would this be? Let's see. In which sute is this? Is the sute in your sentence is used as the quotation particle, also known as the casual toe. Okay, so he said that tomorrow there's going to be an exam, okay? And then from that there was a change. So, to wait, oh, it's getting confused on the... Oh, yeah. Okay, I see, yeah. Toya said, okay, yeah. So, to, to, Toya-kun... Actually, Dart Arrow Peach. Okay. So, Toya-kun, 明日、真剣なんだって。それで、代わりに、so, Toyo-kun said that there's a exam tomorrow. From that, there was a change. It's okay. Let's see. Merlin, Magi. So a good memory lets you know something, but a great mind lets you understand it. Got it. Side dish. They hold nothing back in the info. See, been away from learning Japanese that I now understand less than half. Toimashita. Okay.
お当番、お兄ちゃんじゃなかったっけ？
東也くん明日試験なんだって。それで代わりに。
そっか、それじゃあ。
Soka Soreja. Okay. Okay, Soka, which is an emphatic way of saying Soka, means is that the way? But it's been used more like a statement than a question. It's sort of like using a question as a statement. It's like, is that the way? As in, you now understand. So Soka Soreja. Okay, so from that, and then it continues from there. Chaimu. So, そっか、それじゃ。
で、それで代わりに。
そっか、それじゃあ。もう休み時間終わり？
もう休み時間終わり。huh? Break time is already ended? もう休みや。もう休み時間終わり。
そっか、それじゃあ。もう休み時間終わり？
休み時間っていうのは早く。
もう休み時間終わり？
休み時間っていうのは。
休み 休み時間っていうのは、So as for the break time,
もう休み時間終わり？
休み時間っていうのは早く感じるものなんだよ。
早く感じるものなんだよ。So let's see, 感じる to feel, and then mono thing. So quickly felt thing. So in other words, about break time, or as for break time, and notice he said toi, he's using toiu on it. That means he's talking about the like aspect of break time, not just using it as a topic, but like sort of defining it, defining some attribute of it. Or he's at teiyu. So in other words, it feels quick. It 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 is a quick feeling thing. In other words, it feels like it ends quickly. So, hayaku kanjiru mono nan da yo. Hoe? And then, huh? Oh, by the way, that suke at the end on the previous line, yeah, that's used when referencing what people remember, essentially. Forgot to point that out. Yeah. Let's see. He break time always seems to fly by.
何がいい？
Yeah, that's Suke right there. She put adding Suke to it because she's stating what she remembers, essentially. It's like saying, I thought blah blah blah.
お当番、お兄ちゃんじゃなかったっけ？
東也くん明日試験なんだって。それで代わりに。
そっか、それじゃあ。もう休み時間終わり？
休み時間っていうのは早く感じるものなんだよ。さあ、早く行きなさい。
Sa hayaku ikinasai. Well, I'm going right away, or I'm going quickly. What is the origin of this sa, though? Was it based off of a word, or? And this, what is the origin of? It has sort of like a well meaning. It's an emphatic or rhetorical particle derived from the sentence final particle sa. It stems from conversational particle sa, which is used to add emphasis, assertiveness, or sense of to a statement. When placed at the beginning of an imperative sentence, go quickly, okay, it serves to hasten the listener or express mild impatience, effectively meaning, hey, hurry up and go. Or in this case, I need to hurry up and go. Or salon is a standard sentence final particle. Its use as the start of a command, is a colloquial extension that reinforces the urgency or insistence of the command. What does it mean as a sentence ending particle? See, it indicates that the speaker is confident in their statement, often implying the information is obvious, shared knowledge, or a matter of course. It translates roughly to you know obviously. And that's just how it is. So, shite iru sa, I know obviously. Casual emphasis. Unlike the particle yo, which strongly asserts new information to the listener, sa adds a lighter, more casual emphasis. It often softens the tone while maintaining the speaker's stance. Ma isa, well, it's fine anyway. Resignation or indifference. In some contexts, it can convey a sense of resignation, it can't be helped, or a carefree attitude. So it's either casual yo, more casual yo, or a resignation or indifference. Gender informality. It is predominantly used in casual speech and has historically been associated with male speech, though it is used by women in very casual settings as well. It is inappropriate for formal or business situations. Comparison with yo, used to tell the listener, yo used to tell the listener something they don't know or to strongly insist a point. Strong or informative. Sa, used when the speaker feels the listener should know or agrees, or simply to state an opinion casually. Softer, assertive, of shared reality. Oh, konnichiwa, Wild Arms. Genki desu ka? Sa, hayaku ikinasai. And nasai is from nasaru, which is basically a more formal to do.
感じるものなんだよ。
え
さあ、早く行きな。休み時間っていうのは早く感じるものなんだよ。さあ。
Feel to sense to an experience to transitive, okay.
早く行きなさい。
はーい。
Oh. Oh, he's not talking about himself going. He was talking about Sakura has to go. Yeah, you know Sakura ran off first. That sort of makes more sense with using the sai. I was wondering why he was using the sai with himself. So Geimu no ongaku. Oh, music. That's right, it's sound plus fun makes music. Okay, ongaku. So game music. Geimu ongaku.
さくらはこんな時間まで何してんねや。
Sakura wa konna jikan made nanshi ten neya. Kansai Ben can put ne after the ya? So, okay, anyway, he's saying, as for Sakura, up to this kind of late, what is she doing? So in other words, what is she doing up to this time? In other words, what has she been doing all this time? Let's see. Kansai bin can be, let's see, Kansai bin can be, let's see, can use ne before the ya, like in the particle ne is not placed before the copula ya in a grammatical sense, rather it is part of the verb conjugation shift of shitin. Oh, oh, okay, that nen is not the particle ne, which is a colloquial contraction of shite, shiteiru, okay. So, shiten, this is the Kansai bin contraction of the verb shite plus iru. In Kansai dialect, the e in iru is often dropped and shortened, resulting to shitoru, or more casual, shiton or shiten. Ne. Okay, this is the standard sentence final particle used to seek agreement or confirmation, equivalent to ne in standard Japanese, though often replaced by na in thick Kansai bin. Yeah, this is the concept and equivalent of the copula do, da, or des. Okay. Therefore, the phrase nani o shiteru ne. So, what are you doing right? Okay, shiten doing ne particle confirmation. Yeah, the ne belongs to the verb shiten, not directly to the copula ya. The ya at the end simply affirms the statement question. In a more literal translation of the nuance, what are you doing at this hour, huh? What are you doing, I wonder? Don't sentence ending articles usually go after the ya? Answer in English. Yes, you're correct that in the standard concept and grammar, the sentence final particles like ne typically follow the copula ya, forming structure like ya ne. The phrase nan shiten ne ya appears to break this rule, but linguistic analysis suggests it's not actually a case of a ne preceding the ya. Instead, it is a specific conjugation of the nin particle. The particle nin is the Kansai equivalent of the standard Japanese explanatory nda. According to dialect studies, nin has several variations, including neya, an intermediate or slightly archaic form between noya and nin. Ne, okay, a shortened form, and nya, a softer form. In your example, not nani nani shiten neya is likely a phonetic variation or specific emphatic form of nani shiten neya derived from the nani shite noya to nani shite shiten neya. Here, the ne is not the standard agreement particle ne placed before ya, rather it is part of the neya compound particle itself. It functions similar to nen or noda to provide an explanatory or emphatic tone. The here here is the neya variant of the sentence final particle nen or noya. Therefore, the ne is not a grammatical. Okay. Doesn't the does the come from miru? Let's see. Since this sentence has ya at the end of it, is it a direct replacement of no normalizer? Yes, you're exactly right. The ya at the end of non-shiten functions as the copula to the verb, equivalent to the standard Japanese da, while the n before so the n is iru, the ne is no, and the ya is da. Yes, your breakdown is essentially correct, with one small but important clarification regarding the here is the precise mapping. Non-shiten ya, okay. And shiten comes from iru and marks the progressive tense is doing. Past shite iru to shiten, okay. Ne and ne ya. This comes from no. It acts as a normalizer, turning the verb phrase into a noun clause like the fact. Okay. Path no to net in this specific dialect fusion. Yeah, this is the replacement of da. Okay. Full evolution. Base nani o shite iru no da. Kansai equivalent nani o shiten no ya. Fusion nani shiten ne ya. Okay. Common form nani shiten nen. Okay, so we could replace the ya by just making it nin, okay. But he doesn't do that this time. Sakura wa こんな時間まで何してんねや。Oh wow, I see what he means.
さくらはこんな時間まで何してんねや。ええ子はもう寝なあかん時間やで。ええ子はもう寝な
エコはも
あかん時間や。こんな時間まで何してんねや。ええ子はもう寝なあかん時間。こんな時間まで何してんねや。ええ子はもう寝なあかん時間やで。
う something なかん時間や。So time あかん。Okay, this is Neru, but it looks like the ru's being removed from it so that it's in its noun form. And then this is the na descriptor. Aren't this a na adjective or a keiyodoshi? A kan. Uh, that's basically a softer way of saying baka. No. Kan. No, that's aho. I'm thinking about that aho. Yes. A kan is a way of saying dame in Kansai Ben. So let's see. Good children. Let's see. Let's see. Sleep already. Sleep already. Sleep already. Bad times. Let's see. Already. Sleep bad time. What? Yeah, neru, so ne. So nena. Explain the grammar of a concept equivalent of econ, which is the econ as in using the iku kanji. Which is the negative form of iku. And concept that like iku is used as an auxiliary verb meaning to need to or to have to, derived from the negative form of the volitional or potential similar to ikenai. Let's see, derived from the negative form of the volitional or potential ikenai. Negative form of the volitional or potential. So ikenai would be negative of the potential. But how is this related to the volitional? Yeah, that would be equal. let's see. So yeah, ikanai, which is gonna be therefore ne akan means must sleep. Or have to sleep. Okay, in standard Japanese, this would be ne na kereba. This is from Neru. So where did you... Oh yeah, nai, yes. Neru, nenai, nena kereba. So this be nena kereba or naranai. Or nenakucha. Jikan time. Yeah, synthesis particle used in Kansai dialect to soften the statement and add emphasis implying a reason command similar to yo or na in standard Japanese. Let's see. What did you mean by derived from? Where is econ coming from? Is it ikanai? You are correct that econ is related to ikanai, but your relationship is specific to how the negation works and the dialects versus standard Japanese. Econ is the colloquial negative of iku in many Japanese dialects, including Kansai. So ikimasen or ikanai. Ikanai or econ, often pronounced written as econ. Okay, the ending is a contraction of the classical negative auxiliary news. So econ literally means not go or does not go. Connection to must. Okay. If you don't sleep, it cannot go. We must sleep. Okay. Yes. So econ comes from ikanai and not from ikenai. Or does econ come from ikanai? Econ comes directly from ikanai, not from ikenai. While econ comes from econite, it is used interchangeably with econite in the specific grammar structure for must. If you don't go, it won't go. If you don't do it, it won't go, okay? So there wasn't a sound shift from going from kina in ikinai to merging the sounds. No, that was not a sound shift, okay. Ikanai cannot go, potential negative. Econ does not go. Standard negative, okay. They are parallel forms that evolve to having the same idiomatic meaning, must not. One did not turn into the other via sound shift, okay. Is there a nuance difference when using econ versus ekanai? Regional difference. Econ is used in Western dialects like Kansai, Hiroshima, and Kyushu, or in literary archaic and standard speech. Okay. When used to express obligation, must do, must not do, ikanai often implies moral judgment, or the action leads to undesirable results. It is bad, wrong to do this. Okay, econ. In dialects, it is often more direct and factual. It simply states that the situation is a no-go or not permitted. In standard literary use, it can sound sterner and more authoritative, like a rule or command. Nuance. Okay, this is not allowed or this won't work. So ikanai sounds more like undesirable result of moral judgment. While econ sounds firmer since you're not talking about the potential anymore. Sounding like saying this is not allowed. Eko wa mo let's nena akan. Let's see. Explain why it is nena. The na in nana comes from the negative stem, also called the nai stem of the imperative form of the verb. Okay, dialect unedu, drop the ru and add nai, nenai, okay, do not sleep. The stem part before nai is ne. So why does it become ne now? When you attach certain auxiliary verbs or particles like nakya or nakucha or the kansai na akan, the final vowel of the stem often changes to an e, or from e to a. For easier pronunciation, this is the standard phonetic shift in Japanese grammar for this specific construction. If it is from Nenai, then the na is already there. Okay, my previous explanation of vowel shift is incorrect, okay? Let's see, the na is simply the first character of nai. How connections work. In the construction na akan or na kya, the grammar attaches to the negative stem, but it effectively replaces the e of the nai while keeping the na. So nenai becomes, drop the e, becomes nena, attach the auxiliary, nena akan. So we have to check to make sure you're not getting a BS answer from an AI if something doesn't make sense. Isn't akan its own separate word and not a suffix? So why would the e drop? Okay, the reason the e drops is due to specific grammatical contraction rules in Japanese regarding conditionals, not because of akan. It's a suffix. If you don't need sleep, it's no good. Okay, so nena akan is a shortened version of a conditional sentence. Full logic: if you don't sleep, nenai, it's no good. Akan, conditional form. Okay, to say if you change the nai to nakereba. So not yeah. So ne nakereba akan. If you don't sleep, it's no good. Colloquial contraction. In rapid speech, both in standard and kansai, the nakereba is heavily contracted to na kya or na. Okay, so this is like the kya contraction, only you don't need the kya. So in standard Japanese, you contract it to ne na kya. In Kansai Ben, you contract it to ne na kereba to ne na. Okay, so this is equivalent to ne na kereba. Eko wa mo ne na akan. So if you don't sleep, it's not good or it's bad. So So it's mo. So it's already, if you don't sleep, it's bad time. So as for good children, it's already if you, it's already if you don't sleep, it's bad time. In other words, as for good children, it's already bedtime. Let's see, it's already past bedtime for a good girl like you. Okay. Okay, yeah, it's taking the previous sentence into account. It's time for good kids to go to bed. So, eko wa mo nena akan jikan yare. What is the meaning of ge at the end of this sentence? Remember, it wasn't used exactly like yo, it was moved similar to yo. This is kansai bin. It is some particle like yo. De at the end of the sentence functions similar to the standard Japanese yo, but with distinct regional nuance. Emphasis and assertion. Like yo, it is used to emphasize the speaker's statement, assert an opinion, or provide information the listener might not know. Soften the tone. While assertive, Kansai de often sounds softer, friendlier, and less abrupt than the standard yo. It adds conversational, chatty flavor to the sentence. Explanation. It's frequently used when explaining a reason or situation, implying because or you see without needing to finish the thought. Key difference. Okay, in concept, and de often attaches directly to the copula ya. So that's okay. So dayo or yade. While yo can sometimes sound pushy and strongly informative depending on the tone, de maintains lighter, more inclusive tone, inviting agreement or understanding rather than just dumping information. So it can be informational, but it's like more casual information or softer informationer. So eko wa mo nena akan jikan yare.
こんな時間まで何してんねや。子はもう寝なあかん時間やで。で何してんねん。さくらはこんな時間まで何してんねや。子はもう寝なあかん時間やで。やったこんな時間まで何してんねや。子はもう寝なあかん時間やで。やった時間やで。やった子はもう寝なあかん時間やで。やったなあかん時間やで。やった
The tatakau maho, so attack, magic, dogu, tool, implement, instrument, utensil, so basically use an item. Bogyo. Bogyo. Defense. Safeguard protection. Oh, yeah, that's right. In older Final Fantasy games, there was a defense option where you could basically set a character to block for another character. So if they get attacked during the attack sequence, they'll jump in front and take the hit instead. That's probably what that is. Bogyo. Then Nigeru or run. So attack, magic, item, guard or defend, and then run. So, Shitsumon ga arimasu ka? Are there any questions? If not, we're going to raid, so please stick around for that. Let's see. Okay, we'll look for someone else to raid while I'm asking him to change his raid settings. So let's see who to raid. The second raid. Okay, we're gonna raid Ginra83, whose native language is Japanese and he's studying English. Okay, and let's see for the third person. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna raid for the third raid Varda Elentardi for the who's playing Once Human. Okay, so that first raid, since it takes a new stream to start the settings, we're gonna raid Kazuma instead, who's drawing anime manga art. So, minasan, okiyotsukete, mata ashita. Goodbye, everyone. See you tomorrow.